So let's look at the questions that we have here. Okay, so we have these questions. So a firm manufactures product Y, which is processed in two departments A and B. During November 2023, 10,000 units processed in department A and transferred to department B. The costs in department A were as follows. So let us look at the question. We have direct cost. We have the breakdown of the cost, material, labor, and factory overhead, and we have the total the cost here. So in department B, raw materials of 6,000 naira were also used during the month, meaning additional cost, okay, that we have here, which was incurred in department B, okay, for the next process, okay. Now you are required to calculate the unit cost of each element of cost and total unit cost of for department A. So let us look at the solution to the first question. Solution. So we have um, department A. Department A. We have, let's say this is the total cost. Uh, cost incurred. Cost incurred. Okay. Cost incurred. So we have material. Material. So let's put the naira sign. So let's put the naira sign here. Okay. Material we have 15,000. We have labor. Labor. This is 12,000. We have factory overhead, which is an indirect cost. Factory overhead, which is 3,000. Okay. So at the end of the day, we have a total cost of 30,000 naira for department A. So it means for department A to complete the first stage of the process, okay, department A incurred a total cost of 30,000 naira, which is the output, okay, for department A to be transferred to department B, okay. And the question said that we should compute, calculate the unit cost, okay. Now for the unit cost, so the unit cost here, unit cost, okay, the unit cost, we're told that we have 10,000 units produced, okay, so that will be 15,000 naira divided by 10,000 units, 1,000 units, okay. That will give us naira 1.50. That's for material. For labor, 12,000 divided by 10,000 units equals to 1.20. And for factory overhead, we have 3,000 divided by 10,000 units. So that's going to be 0.3. That is 0.30. So at the end of the day, we have a unit cost of 3 naira per unit. 3 naira per unit. So this is the unit cost. So we have the unit cost for department A as 3 naira per unit based on what? On 10,000 units. Now, we should know now that for department B, for department B, so this total cost here is the output. This is the output. And we have what? So this will be input from department A, from A. So input from A. So the input from A, So trying to locate the cursor. Okay. So the input from A in this case is 30,000 naira. Then we also have from the question, we're told that the cost of material for raw materials is 6,000 naira used. Okay. Material used in department B is 6,000 naira. At the end of the day, we have 36,000 naira. Now, don't we shouldn't get confused, okay? Yeah. The question says calculate the unit cost of, okay, and the cost of material used in process B. Now, don't make the mistake of just using this cost of material here alone, because the total cost here is the total cost of material. The total cost that we have here is the total cost of material to be transferred to department B. Again, the total cost of material is the total output or cost incurred in department A transferred to department B. Okay, it's like we have produced a certain product, okay, which has not been completed but will be completed in department B. So the raw material to department B is the output from department A. So the addition of this cost of material, which comprise of the material itself, the labor incurred, and the factory overhead, added to the material incurred in department B. Okay, the raw material incurred in department B as at the period of production is 6,000, plus the input from the raw material produced, transfer from department A is 30,000 naira. At the end of the day, we're going to have the cost of material used in process B, which is 36,000 naira. So in this case, this is how we can solve for this first question. So let us now go ahead and work on the next question as we have here. Okay, so let me just delete this off so that we can solve for the next question. So this question is more complex compared to what the former one that we've treated. So we're going to look at it and we're going to solve it together. So let us look at this question. Let's look at this question. So we were told that a product passes through three processes. A product passes through three processes. We have process one. We have process one. So we have process one, process two, and process three. Again, we have process one, process two, and process three. So here we have the information listed below has been collected for the week in respect to a particular transaction. Okay, we have, so let me just scroll that up. So we have the processes here highlighted. So we have the processes for process one. Process one. Now, for process one, we have material cost of 6,000, labor cost of 1,000, direct expenses of 2,000. Now, overhead is absorbed in the processes by the use of 100% of direct labor cost. Output from the processes were cost 500 kilogram, 700 kilogram, and 1,000 kilogram, respectively. After process 3, the output passes to a finished goods, okay, a finished goods store, okay. The materials which were input to the processes were 5,500 kilogram to process 1, 200 kilogram to process 2, and 300 kilogram to process 3. You are required to what? To prepare the three processes account. Okay, so let us now look at this question and let us solve. Okay, now for solution. So we have it here, solution. So for department one, let us treat for process one. Process one, okay. For process one, we have the material cost 6,000, labor 1,000, direct expenses that is 2,000. We also have, now from the question, overhead is absorbed in the process by the use of 100% of direct labor. So overhead. So let's say workings overhead equals to 100% of direct labor, which is 1,000. So we have overhead equals to 1,000. So we have our overhead as 1,000 at the end. So this means that we have a total cost of 10,000. So 10,000. The total cost incurred of 10,000. Now, we further told that the output from the processes were cost as 500 kilogram. 500 kilogram as the output, okay? So 500 kilogram as the output for the first process, 700 kilogram for the next process, and also we have 1,000 kilogram respectively as the third process, okay? Output, we have been given in the question that the output is 500 kilogram. So output for process one, output is 500 kilogram, 500 units, okay? So we don't know the figure, okay? We don't know the figure yet of the output, okay? So how do we derive the unit cost, okay? The cost. So the cost, oh, okay, let me select this. So how do we now determine the cost, okay? So for us to determine the cost, let's do some workings here, okay? So working, this is working one, so this is working two. So the unit cost will be the total cost all over output. So our total cost is 10,000 naira incurred, so that we can know the rate by which we are going to transfer to the next department. At the end of the day, we have 20 naira, okay? So at the end of the day, we have a cost 20 naira, okay, which will give us 10,000. Okay, so we have the cost here, which should give us 10,000. Let me drag that down. So we have the cost, the cost per unit, per unit, per unit, okay? 20. So we have 10,000 and we also have 10,000 as the output, okay? So it means that we are going to transfer this as the input. This is our output here. It will become input for process B. Okay, this will become an input for process B. So let us go ahead now and solve for process B. Okay, so let's solve for process B. Let's solve for process B. So let us go ahead and solve the question, okay, for process B. So we've been told that the next process, okay, let me check that. Process 2, for process 2, now, for process 2, we have our input from process 1. Process 1, okay? Let's have the naira sign. So what's the value of our input from process 1? Which is 500 times 20. 500 times 20, which is 10,000. 10,000, that is 500. 20 cost units and cost, okay? Cost per unit. So we have material cost incurred in B. In process 2, we have labor cost, we have direct expenses. So let us check out the information. Okay, we have 4,000, 2,000, and 3,000 respectively. So we have 4,000 for material, 4,000. We have 2,000, and we have 3,000 for direct expenses. Okay. So at the end of the day, we have a total of 11, 6,000, 9. Okay, that is 19,000. We have 19,000. We should not forget that we also have overhead. Overhead. Okay, so overhead. So from the question, overhead should be what is 100% of direct labor. So 100% of direct labor. Number 3, workings. Number 3, 100% of direct labor that we have here. This direct labor of 2,000 multiplied by 2,000. That should give us 2,000. So divide is 2,000. So at the end of the day, we have a total cost of 21,000. Now, we're told in the question that, let's just go back to the question, that output, the output from the processes were cost 500 kg, 700 kg, and 1,000 kg, okay, respectively. So this means that we have for process B, so its output is 700 kg. Let us now solve to know what the cost per unit. Number 4. Number 4. So the cost per unit for process B, cost per unit to what to be transferred equals to 21,000 divided by 700 units. So we have what? We have 3,000